Shuman Aik from Malaysia asks, what is the difference between consciousness, awareness, and mindfulness?
Consciousness, awareness, and mindfulness. See, I won't answer the question directly. I'll take consciousness and awareness first. These are words which are ambiguous. That's why in my talks on Vedanta, I use consciousness and awareness interchangeably, because none of them precisely capture what Vedanta means by Chaitanya, Chit, Chiti, Bodhi, Samvit. Multiple words in Vedanta. It's something that they dealt with, so they came up with, I always think of the Eskimos are supposed to have some 20 words for snow or something like that. They always live in a snowy environment, so there are little variations of that. So in that way, these ancient Indians came up with multiple words for that ultimate reality as pure consciousness. The Buddhists have a very evocative phrase. I don't know the original Tibetan for this, but it says, clear light of the void. So reality, according to them, is emptiness, but it's a luminous emptiness. So there is it's not exactly what is meant by consciousness or awareness, but that's the closest that we can get. Suppose it's a bit like sunlight and moonlight. You want to explain what sunlight is, but to persons who are perpetually living at night, once in a while they see the moon, and so the only thing you can say is that, that moonlight, that's what I mean by sunlight. And you are right, but not quite. So you know what it means, how the sunlight is becoming the moonlight. But the person who doesn't know what sunlight is can often be confused about what you mean. All right. So instead of saying consciousness, awareness, let me use precise terms which will be analogous or close to them, and then differentiate. In Sanskrit, the terms are Swarupa Jnana, consciousness itself. Vritti Jnana, consciousness in the mind. So these two terms, let me distinguish. Swarupa Jnana, Vritti Jnana. There are multiple terms for these. So this Vritti Jnana, consciousness in the mind, is what we are used to. Technically, this Vritti Jnana is what awareness or consciousness actually refer to. The English dictionary, if you take words like awareness, consciousness, they all refer to this Vritti Jnana. This is the consciousness we are used to. When we are seeing, when we are hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, remembering, understanding, loving, hating, desiring, all of our conscious life, whatever we call it, is Vritti Jnana, is consciousness in the mind. And this is exactly like moonlight. That moonlight, sunlight example. And what Vedanta is trying to show us, so-called, if you call it pure consciousness or awareness itself or awareness of awareness and so on, is not Vritti Jnana, is that Swarupa Jnana, is consciousness itself, is the sunlight. The sunlight is there, but only at night you can't point to the sun directly. The only thing you can say is that light you see, that's actually what I'm talking about. In reality, it is sunlight. That moonlight you see, in reality, is sunlight. That awareness which we have right now, totally, correctly understood, precisely ascertained, it is pure consciousness. Reflected through the mind. That's Vritti Jnana. So I made two distinctions. One of them is very familiar to all of us. That is, right now, we all feel that we are aware. We all feel we are conscious. And if you want to point to this consciousness, you want to point to this awareness, you can. But you will point to some kind of event, mental, perceptual, cognitive event. That's what's going on now. Thinking, remembering, enjoying, hating, all of it. Waking, dreaming, sleeping, all of it is because of this mind. But what the Vedanta claims is all of this comes from, in all of this is involved and it is illumined by, and it comes from what it calls Swarupa Jnana, Chit, Samvit, Bodhi, multiple words, pure consciousness. So this is the distinction. Vedanta, we are trying to find that out. Right now our problem is we are identified with this Vritti Jnana. We think, I am this guy. I am sitting here, I am talking to you. This is very obvious to me. But it's obvious to me only because I see, hear, smell, taste, touch. I think, I remember, I cogitate, and therefore it's obvious to me. It's all presented. So, very beautiful way of describing it you get in Vedanta, Buddhism also, Tibetan Buddhism. It's like a dreamlike appearance on the primordial ground. That's what they call it. Dreamlike appearances on primordial ground. What is the primordial ground? You. What's the dreamlike appearance? This. What's going on inside? Our problem is we don't know the primordial ground. We cling to the dreamlike appearances because that's all we know. But the dreamlike experiences themselves cling to the primordial ground. Once you recognize the primordial ground, and you can recognize the primordial ground because you are the primordial ground. Tattvamasi, you are that. Therefore, it's entirely open to all of us to recognize what we truly are. So anyway, going from our mental consciousness, awareness, whatever you call it, to pure consciousness awareness, going means recognizing it. The ground, that's the primordial ground. I can say sunlight is the primordial ground of moonlight. It will be a weird way of talking, but that's what I mean basically. One more term used was mindfulness. Now, there's a Sanskrit term which corresponds to samanaska. Literally means attentive, mindful. Samanaska actually means mindful, literally mindful. So it's a term used in the Kathopanishad long before the Buddha. Buddhists, mindfulness, of course, right now the mindfulness we come across in the United States and many parts of the world, it draws upon Buddhist traditions. But in many ways, the Buddhist tradition itself draws upon more ancient Hindu traditions, like the Buddha's own teachers were Sankhya masters, by his own admission. So samanaska, what it does is this vritti jnana, the consciousness in the mind, the moonlight. It's limited, but it reveals the world to us. It gives us a sense of personality, individual identity, like we feel now, and it reveals the world to us. And it has a very limited bandwidth, so it needs to be focused. What needs to be focused? The moonlight. Now I'm stretching the analogy too far. So what needs to be focused is our mind, and the consciousness through the in and through the mind. So focusing means paying attention. So there is a huge amount of study being done now on focus, attention, mindfulness, positive psychology. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's book Flow is a classic example, but a lot more work is being done. So paying attention, it's the most important resource that we have to attend to something, to pay attention. All knowledge depends upon paying attention. Because the limited bandwidth we have, we need to focus in on whatever. It does all miracles for us. All our enlightenment, spirituality, science, religion is because we pay attention. Then it works. So that paying attention is mindfulness. That focusing of our vritti jnana is mindfulness. So that's the link.